Hola clase. So today we're not meeting live, and I'm just going to have a little bit of review for you to do. And remember that we will be taking our chapter test tomorrow. The chapter test that we're going to take tomorrow, and I'm still in the process of creating it for you, is going to be different than we normally would. If you remember, like our normal chapter test, we'd have 2 matching sections of vocab, and then some grammar questions, and then some culture questions. So what I think I'm going to do for the vocab is probably just give you some questions like, maybe I'll give you a vocab word and give you some options, and you have to match it up to the opposite. Or maybe I'll give you a group of words and you have to choose the word that doesn't belong with the rest, okay? So that part I'm still trying to figure out. Obviously, you're going to be taking this test and you'll have your notes in front of you, which is different from a normal test, right? But so I'm going to make it a little bit of a challenge, kind of like I do with vocab quizzes. Okay, so the focus, though, of the test will be grammar and culture. And so the grammar, if you can see that on the screen, just to remember that in our notes, we had verbs like poner and hacer and traer and salir, and we had those in our vocabulary of this chapter. But grammar-wise, we have to remember that they're irregular. They're only irregular in the yo form, and they have a G in them. That's what they all have in common. So poner, if I want to say I put in Spanish, it's going to be pongo. If I put it in any other form, though, there's nothing irregular about it. It'd just be pones, pone, ponemos, and pone. Okay? The verb hacer is hago, and remember, hago by itself means to make or do. But we also learned a couple of expressions like hacer un viaje, which means to take a trip. Technically means to make a trip. And then hacer la maleta, which we learned was to pack a suitcase, and technically it means to make the suitcase. The verb traer, to bring, when we conjugate that in the yo form, it's trigo, and salir in the yo form is salgo, but the rest of it is conjugated normally, all the other forms. Okay, the biggest thing in this chapter was that new verb tense that we learned that we call the present progressive. And we use it all the time in English, but remember, not quite as much as we do, or excuse me, we use it way more in English than we do in Spanish. Okay, the purpose of the present progressive tense, make sure you can explain this tomorrow for the test. That's to indicate something that's happening right now. So I could say like, como la pizza, which means I eat the pizza. But if I say, I'm eating the pizza right now, I would use this present progressive tense. So the way that we do it is the verb a star, and then we add the present participle to it, okay? Present participle, what is that? It's like in English, taking a verb and adding ing to it. Working, studying, eating, sleeping, driving, whatever it might be. So in Spanish, when we want to add that present participle or turn it into a present participle, if it's an AR verb, we're just going to drop the ending from the infinitive and we add ando. So speaking would be go from hablar to hablando. Working would go from trabajar to trabajando, and you get the idea for that. ER and IR verbs, we're also going to drop the ending from the infinitive, and then we're just going to add iendo, I-E-N-D-O to the end of it. Eating would be comiendo. Living would be viviendo. Writing would be escribiendo, okay? And then we're going to put a star in front of it, put those two things together, and boom, there's your present progressive tense. It's what we call a compound tense, so you can't put anything in between. The a star and the present participle form a bond that must never be broken. So if you want to say something's not happening right now, you know how we make things negative, we put a no in front of it, right? Well, the no cannot go in between. It would have to go in front of the a star. So never try to put anything between a star and the present participle. Okay, today's assignment that you're going to do is going to be practicing with the present progressive. So I am going to show you this on the screen. It's a workbook activity that I would give you on paper if we were in school right now, but we're not, so you'll do it on Schoology. The first section, all you have to do is give the present participle of the verb. So again, you're going to drop the AR or the ER or the IR from the verb, and then you're just going to add ando or iendo. So that should be pretty easy for you to do. And then the second section that you do, and let me zoom in a little bit, The second section that you're going to do today is you're just going to complete with the present progressive of the indicated verb. So we have a sentence with a blank in the middle, and you're just going to fill in that blank with the present progressive. So we take a look at number 1. We have nosotros blank un viaje. So we know nosotros is we, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the verb hacer, we're going to turn it into the present progressive tense. How do we do that? We take the verb estar, we put it in the nosotros form. So that'll be estamos. We take the verb hacer, we put it into the present participle form, so we end up with haciendo. So your answer would be estamos haciendo. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay, so that's how you're going to do that. And I will have a screenshot of this in Schoology for each question, and then room below for you to answer the question. Okay, the last part of this one, you are going to rewrite each sentence using the present progressive tense, but you do not have to rewrite the entire sentence. So hopefully you're actually paying attention to this video before you do the assignment. All you have to do is write the verb. So take a look at this one. We have a sentence here. Los pasajeros embarcan. Remember, embarcar means to board, right? To board a plane. The passengers are boarding, but we want to say they're boarding right now. So how do you do this for this assignment? Instead of embarcan, your answer would be are boarding. So what are we going to do here? We're going to take the verb estar. We're going to put it into the ellos form because it's going to be the passengers. So we'd end up with están. Then we would take the verb embarcar and we would turn it into embarcando. So the answer to this would be están embarcando. Okay, watch out for accent marks, you guys. Make sure that you are copying and pasting, maybe from a Google Doc would probably be the easiest way to do it. Copy and paste your accent marks for a star. And remember, we need an accent mark in the to form, the LA usted form, and the ellos, ellas, ustedes form. Okay, so that's how you do question number 1, and then the other ones, you're just going to do the same thing. You'll find the verb in the sentence. So the verb here is mira, and you'll switch it to is watching. So for each of these answers, you'll have 2 words. One will be a star, one will be the present progressive. Okay? All right, so that's the assignment. And then just to kind of review, where did my notes go? Where did my notes go? There we go. Cultural information. And next week, remember, we'll still finish our documentary to see what ends up happening with the plane crash in the Andes. But make sure that you are familiar with the idea of why air travel in South America is so important. Mountains, rainforests, and desert. I might actually come up with a little activity for you to do as part of this test. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still, like I said, I'm still working on making this an online format instead of our normal format. And then the Nazca lines, remember they're mysterious lines in the desert in Peru. They're over 1,500 years old. You can only see them from the air. Well, of course, we saw yesterday that video, you could be in a little observation tower. But if you're standing on the ground, they're so large, you can't really see at all what they are. So that's about all I have for you. You're going to want to go on Schoology, make sure you do the assignment, and then tomorrow I will post your test to do. But if you have any questions or anything, let me know, you guys. And other than that, I will see you again live on Monday. Adios.